All right, everybody. As I said, I'm Michael Bunker. I'm going to be your host for the evening. Thank you for coming in. Tell me where you are. Hello, Montana. Hello, Mississippi. Hello, wherever you are. Come on in. Hit the like button. Good. Good. Glad you can hear me. We'll get this thing going once everybody gets in here. Get seated. Grab you a seat. In the meantime, I'm going to do this thing right here. Oh, we got to look at the bottom. So there's that. And it's hot. So you're going to see me. I'm glowing. I'm glistening. I'm sweating. My hair will get progressively damper as the thing goes on. My shirt will become progressively more see-through. It's only about 93 degrees, which is fantastic for Texas in June, but the way the 93 degrees is right now, it's very humid. There's no air movement. There might be some storms building out to the west, which ought to cool it down, but with the banner and all this, I got no windows. So it's hot right now, and I am completely drenched all the way through. I just got done doing another video for the fitness channel. Link below in the description. Hello, Daniel from Michigan. I think Ron's out in California. Glad you guys are here. Come on in here and let's hang out. Got a lot to talk about today. I got some things written down, but I'm always here for you. I'm here to talk about whatever you want to talk about. If you want to talk about something within reason, put it in the comments section, type it in wherever you are. If you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, if you're on Twitter, wherever you are, type in there and then we'll talk about it. Hello, Scott Glenn from the east coast of Texas. 90 degrees there. It's 93 here, but the humidity's up there, man. It is up there. And I've been in here doing video stuff. So, you know, I get in trouble no matter what I do. And some of that stuff I'm going to talk about today. If I go, hey, y'all, I didn't do a show for 2 or 3 days and wasn't going to do one today because I'm broke and because everything is broken again. Yeti 150 died. The car wouldn't start yesterday morning. I'm here by myself. Danielle's in Dallas working on her CNA thing. And everything is broken and I'm frustrated. I don't know what's wrong with the car. It wouldn't start. I jump started it. It ran fine for a little while and then it died. Probably an alternator, could be a battery. Same thing that was happened to the 2011 Taurus is happening to the 2003 Taurus. At the same time, you're right. Who am I fooling? I've been making the big bucks with my off-grid business all of these years. I'm the biggest fool in the world, man. I've been doing this for free for 15, 20 years. And like I said, there's nothing I can do that makes anybody happy. I get in trouble. People gripe me out because, like, why are you doing everything for free? Your family's starving. No, you know, you got to borrow money for your children to pay your phone bill. And at the same time, 102 and Andrew, sorry to hear that. I got people accusing me of having a business that's losing profits because of the free Facebook groups. You know, the ones that put a picture of a shack out in the middle of the woods. And they're like, would you live here for $500,000 for a year? That's the height of the understanding and the knowledge. They post links to stuff they've seen online. Every once in a while, there's something of value. Every once in a while, somebody posts something that's helpful. But most of the time, and I don't want to get into it too early. I was going to go into a little rant on that, but I'm not going to do it yet. I got other stuff. I got bigger fish to fry. Need rain in Concho County. We need rain in Coleman County. I can tell you that right now. And there's some rain just west of here. I can kind of see that. You notice the sun is not beating on my face right now this window because it's kind of dark out to the west, but it is so humid, man. All right, y'all. Make sure you lovingly caress the like button. Subscribe if you're new. If you're watching this on Facebook, I appreciate you. Glad you're watching it over there. Sometime during the day, in the evening, sometime after this is over, traverse your way to YouTube. Find my page, youtube.com/bunkdad, or just type in Michael Bunker into the search feed. Find this video and like it and subscribe. It's that easy. You should be subscribed. All right, what else we got going on? All right. So, hey, I got a big announcement. Big announcement. Let me find it here. You should see it scrolling on the bottom of your screen. My next book, written in concert or cohorts with Sofek Sean Tuin, called God in the Storm, is now available for pre-sale. The book is finished. It's being formatted. It's going to be out pretty soon. But you all have a unique and reserved and private and secret opportunity to buy the book in pre-sale. It is not available on Amazon. If you run over to Amazon right now, you're not going to find it. It's not there. There's a link going across your screen right there. Just type in godinthestorm.com. You don't have to click on anything. Don't do it right now. We're in the middle of a video. Get back over here. After this thing is over, you're going to go to God in the Storm and you're going to pre-order the book. What is the book about? Well, let me share with you. Watch this cool stuff I can do. Watch this. God in the Storm is the true story of Sean's family that escaped the Cambodian genocide in the 1970s. 2.5 million people killed by the Khmer Rouge, led by Pol Pot in the 1970s, and all in a very short number of years. And his family escaped, and this is the story of their escape. And so I was very, very pleased and honored to be able to work with Sean in writing this book. It is a novel, and so it is not some dry documentary. It is thrilling. It is exciting. You're going to love it. Go to godinthestorm.com. You can pre-order. There's lots of cool stuff there. You can scroll down here. You can see the book cover. Right now, you can get the paperback or the hardback. You can order those signed. And there's going to be an ebook coming soon. Eventually, this will all work its way over through Amazon and all the other bookstores. It'll be available everywhere. But this has been not only a labor of love, it has been an absolute challenge. We were fought tooth and nail, and it's going to get worse when you write a book that compares Antifa with the Khmer Rouge with real life comparisons. It's probably not going to be as uncontroversial as I would normally like. All right, get back over here to the comments. We'll see what's going on. I guess I'm trying to figure out how to work all this. Hello, Daniel. What's my rant about? It's coming up. I got 2 rants. I got 2 or 3 really. First one is going to be the off-grid people who are pissing me off. All right, audio and video is great. Thank you. Sounds like crazy talk. All right, well, you didn't get to hear much. All right, don't let the door hit you on the way out. All right, y'all, so here we go. What are we going to talk about? We just talked about God in the Storm. Go over there and buy it. And so here's what happens. This is a fact about every specialty group on social media. I got in big trouble in 2014. Some of you may not remember. Some of you will remember. I was unwillingly placed in some of these groups. Some of them I joined because I liked some of the people that were in them, or some people asked me. People would message me and say, will you join this group? We'd like somebody with some experience in book publishing, and we would like you to join this group. So I was in these different author groups. And I began to notice things that carried over from one group to another, and that were in groups that had nothing to do with authors. Hello, Indiana. And that is, everybody announce yourself on the way out. That is that there's a phenomenon in social media groups, Facebook groups, pages, etc. The first thing I notice is that people who don't know what they're talking about, but who want to, who may be earnest seekers, newbies. We used to call them newbies. They probably still do. People who don't have any real experience, but they are newly interested in the hobby, in the practice, in the employment, in the thing, get into it, and they're the most active. So the most active people are the people who aren't actually doing the thing, but they want to do the thing, or they dream of doing the thing, or they started doing the thing, or they're just now learning. As always, and with everybody, me included and you, when you first get into something, whether it's shoes or cigars, or you get into playing basketball, or you get into theoretical physics, your interest level is very high and you are joining things. You are like finding areas where like-minded people congregate. Here's where it separates. There are different personality types. And there are people who, by their very nature, cannot sit in a room and learn quietly. They do not have the constitution to do that. They must take over the room, manage it, control it, and suck the air out of it. Now, it's popular today, and I have friends that I really don't like this because I have friends with this name or friends with, spouses with this name. These are Karens who are very bullyish, and they will take over any room they are in, regardless of their level of understanding of what it is. So if you had, let's just say, a chess group, and one of the Russian greats or somebody like that, Karpov or Kasparov or somebody was in the room, and you had Karen over here who started playing chess last Thursday, Karen will take over the group, and she will answer questions, and she will hold forth. She will begin to direct conversation, and she will control things, even though there's a guy right there who's a world chess champion who we'd love to hear from. Oh, I know what you were doing, Roland. I was joining in the joke. Hello, Michael. And in every group, there are people who are actually experts, who actually do the thing or who have done it for a very, very, very long time and have been very successful. Perhaps they've made millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars. And they don't say anything because of the 5 Karens who are running that outfit. Karen could be a male or a female. I apologize, Clovis, if you're watching this, and I apologize to Karen. I don't like the terminology, but I'm just having to use it so people understand the personality type I'm dealing with. Sometimes it's the person who started the group. Sometimes they are a very low IQ individual. They don't know anything. They're interested in the topic, and they like posting stuff. And they take over. Other people drift in. They like the topic. They don't know that the guy who started this thing doesn't know shit. Pardon my language. Sorry, Danielle, if you're watching this. They don't know that guy doesn't know. It's not a sin not to know anything. But you see the dynamic that's happening here. If I go into the social media or into the city hall or wherever, and I start a group of trumpet players, and I don't know how to play the trumpet, but I've watched it on YouTube. I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night, and I can hold up a trumpet, and I watch videos intently. And there are people on YouTube that don't know how to play the trumpet who make videos, and I watch their videos, and I copy what they do. And I've been doing this all of 5 minutes, but I started the group. Now people that have been doing it 3 minutes come in, and they go, that guy's an expert. He's the guy who started this group. I know, no cussing, I'm sorry. You understand what I'm saying? There's a dynamic in these groups that thwarts and silences voices of people who know what they're doing. There is an automatic rising to the top of a small group of people of a certain personality type, and they almost always don't know what they're talking about, and they run things with an iron fist. What I did in 2014 is I pointed this out. I had a book in the top 20 of all of Amazon.com that had sold 100,000 copies and had a very successful track record. And I wasn't saying anything in these groups. I knew at least 5 other people in this group who had sold probably close to 1 million books. And they were never talking in the group. And I got talking to them. I was like, well, why don't you guys ever speak up in the group? And they said, we don't want to because these people who are running it will shout you down, or they'll mute your voice, It's not worth it. It's not worth the frustration. So what you end up with is this whole thing reflects the image of its creator. Greetings, Mary. You understand? And I pointed that out. So I got on Facebook and I said, you know what? I'm done with author groups. Not because I don't learn anything there. Every once in a while there's something that's helpful. But the people who post the most, who shut other people down, and who run things with an iron fist don't know what they're talking about. They haven't sold any books. In particular, there was 2 or 3 in this one author group who knew nothing about the business. One of them wasn't an indie author at all. She was a quota hire from a mainstream publisher who had, and her books, they'd been out for years and nobody bought them. You can tell because she didn't have any reviews. But she was somewhat famous in her political wing of publishing for a lot of other reasons other than her writing, apparently. And then there's another one who I had met who was a wannabe who didn't sell any books. And so what I did is I just came on my own page. I didn't say anything in that group. And I said, listen, I'm done with these groups. They don't know what they're talking about. And they're silencing people who actually know what they're talking about. If I have a question, I'm going to email so-and-so or so-and-so rather than go into these groups and just get bullied. So here's what they did. These 2 Karens, I won't mention their names because nobody buys their books anyway. You don't need to know it. They decided I was to be canceled. You know what it means to be canceled? They went through the internet memory hole, back to the internet days, back before any of us even really kind of knew where the world was going. And they started, because this has everything to do with what I said. They were only doing this to refute what I said. And they found sermons that I had preached 15 years earlier. And they started silently and privately sending those things around. They started sending them, and one big name author read, here's an opportunity for me to save my own reputation because they tried to cancel me for something I actually did. And he jumped on board, and it became this big pile-on. It was no longer about the fact that I didn't want to be part of this group or that I didn't find these groups valuable. It was about what I said 15 years ago and whether or not it was offensive. You see what happens? So today, having not learned my lesson, I said the same thing about homesteading groups. And let me tell you what, I'm an expert. I know how to do it. I can live off grid. I can live off grid. I can make stuff. I can do stuff. I can survive. I can catch water. I can butcher a pig in the heat. And I don't say anything in these groups because 90% of the posts are memes, or people like posting a picture of a cabin in the woods saying, would you live here for $500,000? And the other 10% are the guy who runs the thing, and they're completely ridiculous, have nothing to do with anything. And most of the people who are commenting, you have comments like this. Somebody goes, how do I keep snakes out of my garden? Answer, pour kerosene around the perimeter. That's the kind of advice you're getting. Why do you want to keep snakes out of your garden? How about that question? Are there good snakes and bad snakes? Is it possible to get them to reposition themselves? No. Let's go get kerosene and like pour it around our garden. And nobody comes on there and goes, that's batshit. I'm sorry, Danielle. I apologize. I am going to stop it. My pastor's on here and my wife's on here. Living in Austin, that's right. And so the guy who runs this group, all these guys messaged me a year ago, 2 years ago, when they were sitting in their plush air-conditioned apartment going, I would like to live off-grid someday, like you. 5 minutes later, they're an expert. And 5 minutes after that, they're online accusing me being a businessman who's upset about their group because their group is giving people information for free, whereas I was selling it. First of all, I wasn't selling it. Everybody who knows me knows that. Second of all, if I was, where did the money go? And third of all, anybody who's listening to your group is not somebody that would be listening to me. So I'm not losing anything by these groups. I'm just not going to participate in them because the people are stupid. It's stupid people telling stupid people what to do. Some of you may be in these groups, and I apologize to you because you're not stupid. All right, rant number 1. And now, here we are. I want to talk about what's going on in the world today. You guys know me. I can't be stuck into a box. Everybody wants to say, get into my box. In the last week, I have been told that I am a very good, true progressive. I've been told that I'm a classical liberal. I've been told that if people knew how conservative I was, they wouldn't listen to me. I've been called an anarchist. And so I don't fit into any of those boxes. I'm sweating. I fit into that box. But here's the thing. What's going on in the world is crazy. What's going on in Atlanta is crazy. But was it foreseeable? Is it a foreseeable? You guys have heard me talk about this. This is the way I look at history and the way I look at events. Everything's very difficult to predict going forward because we have this ceteris paribus fallacy in our head where we think things are going to continue somewhat the way they are with little tweaks here and there. And we don't see big changes that are coming, although all of the signs are there. You are a paying customer, Daniel Carr. All of you are paying customers. And so what we have is, Daniel, you threw me off of my rant. What was I talking about? All right. You have foreseeable things, and then you have things that, looking backwards from the event, you could say, well, it should have been foreseeable, depending on your level of understanding and where you are. Most of you live in cities. If you don't live in cities, you live in suburbs. Not all of you, but some of you. We have a phenomenon that's interesting to me because I'm old enough to remember, I don't know, 2 weeks ago or a month ago or a year ago, where people were saying, you don't need guns because we have the police. The police will do that. You don't need guns. Of course, I don't agree with that. But now the very same people are saying we don't need police. Now, I might tend to agree with that part, but I don't. The reason I know that we need police is because we are going to have cities. This led to a whole topic just a week ago, about cities and how they developed and why people are attracted to them and what they cause in the society. When you have cities, you have a lot of people who become non-productive. That's not a pejorative, it's just fact. They're not actually producing anything from the ground, anything from the raw materials that they get themselves, that they're making into something that was nothing before, that then has value, is then is exchanged for the hours and minutes and seconds of other people's life. All of those people, some of them doing very important things, some of them not so much, move into cities where they become movers, dot peckers, right? They're moving things, or they're filing things, or they're showing things, or they're even creating services and etc. Software, all these type of things that move things and change things and exchange things and create or add value, but they're not creative in their nature. They're creating for nothing. That's called creation ex nihilo, right? Creation out of nothing. None of us create something out of nothing. We create stuff out of raw materials. But what you get the point. If I take a tree off my land and I cut it down and I make it into a chair, that chair now has human value. People can see it for what it is, and they will exchange the hours and minutes and seconds of their life for it. If I walk down here and I work from home and I'm checking data code for glitches, that's important for a lot of reasons, but it's not creating something that before didn't have any value and making something of it that now has value that people. I've explained this. I'm not going to get into it too much. So now you have all these people in one place. Those people have become specialists. And what specialists do is they have to focus their attentions. They're not going to raise all their own food. They're not going to be able to defend and protect their life, liberty, and property. They're not going to be able to care for their neighbor in the way that traditionally humans would care for their neighbor. And so they farm all of that out. So their food production is farmed out. Their food distribution is farmed out. Their life, liberty, and freedom protections are farmed out. They're bought from other people. And their care for their neighbor and love for their neighbor is farmed out. This sounds bad. I'm just identifying the facts. All of that is farmed out. It's all done. I exchange money and somebody protects me. I exchange money. Perhaps I give it to a charity and my neighbor is taken care of. All right. Everybody understand what I'm saying? Part of that system is the protection of life, liberty, and property, which necessitates in that worldview a police force or somebody, because there's only two options. Either all people are inherently good and will not do crime. Crime is caused by the existence of something, racism or police or whatever. Or people are inherently evil and they have to learn good. They have to learn to do good. They have to learn not to kill, murder, rape, torture, and all those things. And so one of those things is true. I would say if you believe that people are inherently good, you probably have never had children, and you are a very, very poor observer of human nature. Most of us who are sentient creatures, who have watched small children play, have watched them grow up, have watched human nature, realize that everything in us that doesn't rob, cheat, steal, murder, and all that is an outside force acting on us. Either it is shame, or it is teaching, or it is God's working upon us in a miraculous way. So James Witherspoon, you guys never know what you're going to get. You never know. This is a box of chocolates. Witherspoon, who wrote the Bill of Rights. Actually, sorry, James Madison wrote the Bill of Rights, but he was a student of Witherspoon. Witherspoon and James Madison believed that humans in their nature were corrupted. They were darkened. They were evil in their nature. They had to be taught to be good. They had to be taught not to steal. They had to be taught not to covet. They had to be taught not to do evil things. And they had to be restricted and restrained from the lower angels of their nature by something. And they also believe that government, by its very definition, is the distillation of these human characteristics. So government is the distillation or the distillation of man's darker nature. In other words, if you took man and you gave him power, there you have a government. So if you say that a man is wicked in his nature and has to be restrained, government is even more powerful and has to have stronger restraints. So the Bill of Rights was not written to restrict human behavior, individual behavior. It was written to restrict government's natural tendency to restrict the freedom of the smallest minority, whatever that minority is, as we saw and as we have seen. I have sweat that's pouring in my face. So if you have this nature and you need protection, and you do because people are inherently evil, you need police. The only way you can not have police is people have to live differently. They have to live in a manner in which their own life, liberty, and protection Their own life, liberty, and property is their own responsibility. And they can conglomerate in whatever numbers they want to, in a community, in a church, in a nation state, however they want to do it. But you got to have one or the other. What you can't have, and I have anarchic tendencies. What you can't have is you can't move all these people into a big city like Atlanta. Have them all raised and grown up in the world in the way that that world operates, and then pull out the police. You may have 5 minutes of what we're seeing in Chaz or what we saw in the Occupy Wall Street, where everybody's sitting around singing Kumbaya and eating what was left over from whatever they got out of the TCBY. But that ain't going to last long. At some point, somebody has to produce something. Somebody has to make something that didn't exist before. We have a growing population always. There always has to be more natural resources or things made from natural resources that can be used to exchange so that people can get the things that they want. The whole idea that you can start with a city, put a bunch of people in it with no police, that somehow that's going to work is foolish. I have commiseration with both sides. I absolutely feel for these police who have been abandoned in many cases, who have virtue signaling pirates standing out there going, take this one, throwing them to the mob. And you know, because I've said it here and I got in a lot of trouble for saying it, I've had my own problem with the police. I believe that the police have too many rights, too much power. They should not have exemption from the regular laws of life. And they absolutely have a tendency to be abusive when they're allowed to, because of the characteristics of the character of the people who generally seek that job. So I feel for people who have traditionally been abused by the police, which generally is the poor. I feel for the police who have been thrown to the wolves. I feel for individual property owners in Atlanta who, we hear all the time about the social contract. Well, you had a social contract, and the social contract was you were going to go and you were going to buy this property, and somebody was going to protect it for you. That's your social contract. Now, personally, I think that that's a foolhardy social contract, and so I don't participate in it. But that's the one you signed up for, and I feel for people now who your life, liberty, and property is at risk. There are no winners here. The question that I asked at the beginning, though, is this foreseeable? If we go back just a couple of shows when I did the whole talk about the city, yes, it's foreseeable. This is the inevitable end of cities as we know them. The original term city comes from citadel. It was not a place where anybody lived. It was in the center area of a village that became larger. Some became cities. And the citadel was a fenced, gated, walled area where everybody could fall back to when the enemy marauders appeared. But people didn't live in there. It was a defensible castle, sometimes very large. Jerusalem was a citadel. Rome started off as a citadel. Because of the activity going on there and the fact that they need to have resources, businesses and individuals who are merchants would move into the area, sometimes into the citadel. Because it was a place of safety, because there was military and police there or whatever, travelers from far would come to the citadels, and that's where they exchanged goods and services. And as that happened, those areas began to grow. People who were not producers, who had some other job in the agrarian or mercantile system, moved near to the citadels, and it was there that they did their craft. Nothing's wrong with any of this so far. Government began to be centered there because it was defensible. The king or the count or the baron or the prince or whoever. I have sweat dripping in my nose. And they moved there. And then that therefore became the place where the power congregated. Think of Washington, D.C. Money exchanges hands. People start doing shady things. Corporations are born. The Jesuits and their banking and all this kind of stuff happens. Pretty soon, those areas become not autonomous, but they watch after themselves. More people move there as the banking and corporate government system makes it harder and harder to live out there. They give money, they finance efforts to make smaller plots of land much more productive so that fewer people are living out there and more people are in here doing work and buying things. Hello, East Coast of Australia. And so here we go. Now you got cities. Just like when the Hebrews asked God for a king. He didn't want them to have a king. He wanted them to have judges. But they're like, no, give us a king. He said, I'll give you a king. But if I give you one, he's going to be abusive. He's going to take your children. They're going to run before his chariots. He's going to crush them under his wheels. You will become slaves in the land of your father. That was God's authorization for monarchy. No other system since then has God authorized, period. End of sentence. Read your Bible. But he said this, if you cannot be trusted with your freedom, if you cannot trust yourself with it and you can't be trusted with it, I will give you a king and he will crush you under his chariot wheels. And this is what man's history is. This is what we're seeing today. Yes, our system of policing is abusive. Yes, poor people in particular, people of color, and all sorts of people are abused under that system. There are good ones and there are bad ones, but under that system, people are fearful. It's because of the system that developed because of man's depravity. All of this goes back to man's depravity. We say, we're not going to defend ourselves. We don't need guns. We don't need land. We don't need a militia. We don't need people to have care for their neighbor. We're going to move to a city and we're going to farm all that stuff out. And we farm ourselves out. And all of a sudden now we got a king and we got a police force who can do whatever they want, whenever they want. And when they kill somebody, they get away with it. Sometimes it's legitimate according to the law, but they're given more and more and more rights that are violations of the Constitution. No-knock warrants are a violation of the Constitution. But here we are now. The same people who are saying we don't need them, same people saying defund them, are now saying, what are we going to do? And I'm not on either side. You thought you had me in your box. All I'm saying is this is all foreseeable. You know human nature, it's foreseeable. Looking back from the event, let's just say we follow this line forward. Let's just say Trump or somebody else in power doesn't go back, reach back to the 80s when Reagan said, nope, sorry, you air traffic controllers, you don't get to go on strike. You're all fired. We're going to hire new ones. And they don't do some form of that. Or they don't send in the National Guard or send in the military or whatever they end up doing. And things get worse and worse and crime increases and people are murdered and raped and all this stuff that's going on all over now. Are we ever going to address the real problem? The fact that this is the way people have chosen to live. They've chosen to farm out their freedom and farm out their defense and farm out their protection to other people. It's foreseeable. It's predictable. And in the long run, we'll see dips and valleys. Things will get better and worse, but in the long run, they will wax worse and worse until individual people say no. Individual people say, no, I'm going to live a different way. All right, y'all. That's my thing. Welcome to the Bunker Nation. This is what you get. You never know what you're going to get. You got 2 rants for the price of 1, for the price of 0, because of my business acumen. Because I'm running a business here. So speaking of the business, go down to God in the Storm down there, godinthestorm.com, and pre-order the book. Get the hardback. Tell them you want it signed, or get the paperback, whatever you want. You can't get the ebook yet. It'll be available very, very soon. Pew, pew, pew. Just look at those 20-foot high walls that surround DC and Baltimore. Yep. All right. So what other business did I have? I want to tell you about one more thing, and I am not sponsored by anybody. Nobody pays me money on this show. If they did, I would be talking about whatever they want to talk about. If somebody sponsored me and they were like, we got this new fork, you can't stab yourself with it, it's got a cork on the end, I would be here selling cork forks. So if you got a product, let me know about it. Only if I use it. But here's the thing. My buddy Sean, who wrote this book with me that I'm telling you to go pre-buy, Sean too, and his parents escaped from Cambodia. They escaped the Khmer Rouge, their days Antifa, communists who murdered 2.5 million of the people. And they came to America and they made a life. And Sean is a documentary filmmaker. He's now an author with me. And he made a cool, it's an add-on. It's like a Chrome add-on. What do you call those things? They're up in the corner, they're in your browser, and you can add stuff. It's an extension. It's a Chrome extension. I use Brave because I like security and privacy. Brave is just Chrome without all the trackers, all right? So get Brave if you want it. I'm not getting paid for it. Anyways, Sean invented a extension called Cleanvid. C-L-E-A-N, the word clean, vid, V-I-D. And it does quite a few things, any number of which are worth what it's going to be. It's not available right now. You can't go buy it, but you will be very soon. I just want to tell you about it, and I'm not getting paid for it. You can watch videos on Amazon Prime, Hulu, IMDb TV, wherever you watch videos, and you can click on Cleanvid, and it will zap the bad words if you don't like them. It'll replace them with other words just for fun. There's a lot of utility in there. You can actually say, I don't mind the word that I said earlier that Danielle grinded me about, but there's another word I don't like. And you can type that word in there, or it has presets. If you don't want, if you're watching with your, like me, back in the day, you're watching a movie with your wife and children for no reason, out of nowhere, there's a sex scene that has nothing to do with the story, it can zap those. It'll take them out of there. And it does all of this on the fly. And the next thing it does, which you may not care about that. You're like, no, I like my films dirty and I like bad words. Whatever. Here's what else it does. When you're watching this video on YouTube tomorrow or 5 days from now or a year from now, there's like 12 commercials, maybe 5. It will automatically remove those on YouTube, on wherever you're watching it. Wherever you like to watch videos. If you're watching a movie on a free service like Hulu or like IMDb TV, and you're watching Harrison Ford movie, you can let it say all the bad words if you want to, but it will take all the commercials out. I think it's cool, and I've got it because I'm using it, and I used it last night, and I've got it on here right now. It was easy to set up. It's just an extension that goes into your Chrome browser. I can still send videos over to my television, and it's cool, and you're going to want it. I just wanted to tell you about it. You can't get it yet. I'm not trying to create covetousness in you, but it's going to be cheap, and it's going to be a thing that everybody's going to want, and Sean's going to make $1 billion. Somebody will probably buy it out for $100 million. But it's cool. And there are other services out there that do 1 or 2 of these things, and they do them poorly, but this one actually does all of them, and it does them very well. All right, y'all, we're at 45 minutes. And so I was going down. So down in the description, my off-grid business, which is you can donate money if you want to keep me doing this because it's hot and I've been sitting here for an hour in the heat so I could talk to you and tell you things you didn't know before. Go down in there and click on, hold on. I'm cracking myself up. michaelbunker.com/partner subscriptions. Just go to michaelbunker.com. Just go there. Up there in the top, there'll be a thing that says partner subscriptions. Click on there and sign up. Sign up. You know, $10 a month, $5 a month, whatever you want to do. And I wanted to show you one more thing. So I got this thing here, and I can do like that. Then I'm going to go in here. Give me just a second. I want to show you something. We're going to go to michaelbunker.com. Hopefully that shows up for you. All right, this is my main page. Up here where it says swag. A minute ago, you clicked on partner with Michael. That's where you're going to do your donation, right? Then go over here to swag. See where it says swag? Right there, you're going to click on that. And check this out. I showed in my picture today, I got this hoodie in today. And that's it right there. The Bunker Nation hoodie. Let me know what you think. You can order these right on the swag page. It's a great way to donate to this off-grid business of mine. All right, everybody. Let me look over here and make sure I'm not missing any comments. Plugins, yeah, plugins. It's a plugin, something like that. Sometimes I can, in the middle of a rant, I can think of things that are so far out of left field that are allusions and literary and all this kind of stuff. And then I try to think of a word, and I'm like, don't know what that word is. All right, everybody, glad to have you here. Make sure you hit the like button. There's 24 people watching, only 15 people hit the like button. Some more of you need to hit the like button. If you're on Facebook, slide on over, traverse your way over to YouTube. Find me there. Just type in Michael Bunker on the YouTube search engine, and you'll find my page and subscribe. Do it. Bye, y'all. I love you, Lord willing. I'll see you tomorrow, if not, maybe the next day.